MJSA's Product Expo with B9Creations. I'm Andrea Hill, and I'm happy to be your host for MJSA's ongoing every third Thursday and sometimes more often webinar series. Today we have Shon Anderson and Dani Mason with B9, and I'll have them introduce themselves in a moment. But before we get rolling, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So for those of you in our audience, could you go into the chat box, locate it, and first of all, let me know if you can see us and hear me okay. And Dani and Shon, why don't you guys say hi? Let's make sure they can hear you okay.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Ani. I see you're typing. Who else have we got in the room yet? Once I'm sure everybody can see and hear us okay, then we'll get rolling with the real stuff.
That sounds great.
Hi, Leon. Okay, great. Looks like everybody can see and hear us okay. All right, so we have a fun session planned for you today. Dani and Shon have a presentation they're going to share about B9, and that includes some slides and a video. We encourage you to post any questions that you have in the chat box that you're typing in right now. That's the other reason I wanted you to find that. Let us know what your questions are. We'll field them in real time and also at the end of the presentation. And then we'll be doing questions and answers after the presentation as well. So that's the plan. Let's start with a big thank you to MJSA for hosting this series. And now, Dani and Shon, I'd like to turn it over to you to introduce yourselves and let me know when you want to get this slide presentation going.
That sounds great.
Thank you, Andrea.
Do you want to
Absolutely
introduce yourself?
So hello, everyone. My name is Shon Anderson. I'm the CEO of B9Creations. The job of the CEO, while often misunderstood, is really just about pulling together the right team to deliver technology that meets our customers' needs. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to connect with us. I'm really looking forward to hearing what questions get asked and hopefully tackling some of those and providing some insight into what we've learned from customers of ours who have made that digital transition and hearing more about where you are in your individual businesses.
And I'm Dani Mason. I'm the Director of Marketing here. So my job is to listen to jewelers just like you, take your feedback, and figure out how can we incorporate that into new technologies, whether that's casting resin, software, printers, as well as services, and better support you end-to-end in your jewelry workflow as you make this leap into the digital space as well. So, and I see some of our customers popping in as well. So I just want to say hello. I see you down there, Simon, and we'd love to hear both from customers and people that are trying to figure out, how do I adopt 3D printing? Throw us your questions and we'll answer them along the way.
Great. So are you guys ready to start the presentation?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm your Vanna, so just tell me when you want me to switch the slide.
I think we're good for the next slide.
So
there we go.
We'll keep this really short, but you heard something that's really important from both Dani and from me as we did our introductions. B9Creations is obviously not the largest company in the additive manufacturing space. We talk internally a ton about how are we going to make sure that we're serving our customers better than anyone else. And the phrase that we come back to over and over and over again is out listening the competition. We don't have the marketing budget that some other firms have, but we do a tremendous amount of direct customer feedback. Everything from our materials to the new software platform that you're going to hear about, to the hardware. Some of that's in customer businesses, some of that's in our factory and through direct customer interactions with our engineering teams. But we really exist to improve our customers' lives with technology. And we'll talk more about what is the definition of improve and how do we do that as we go. But if you're trying to figure out, maybe you're not familiar with us, what is different or unique about our company, that's the heart of it. So go ahead, Andrea.
There's a bit of a lag here. I really am clicking when you tell me to.
I believe you.
So part of what we want to discuss as jewelers adopt 3D printing technology is it's not just I have a machine in-house. There's an entire workflow that goes around their prototyping and manufacturing process, and that's where the solution needs to integrate into. both on the front end with design and on the back end to ensure that you get quality castings every time. So I just wanted to lay out the framework, both in terms of here's what a digital manufacturing workflow looks like for jewelers, as well as where we've listened to that feedback and incorporated it directly into the products themselves. So if you look on this slide, you can see the first step is this consultation with your customers. What we've found is that in a traditional business model, jewelers may bring a customer in, mock up a design, and then have them come back later in the week or the next week to validate that design, collect the money, and then proceed with the rest of the customer job. Additive turns that on its head. So now when a customer comes in, say it's a fiance and they're trying to decide what their engagement ring wants to look like, you can sketch that and print an actual prototype in 12 minutes. So you're not having to send them away. You're able to use that as a same-day sales tool to be able to grow your business up front and then go back into the manufacturing process. So that's really where this begins. Kind of a twin piece of that is we have a 3D scanner in our portfolio, and where we see a lot of people using that is in heirloom reproduction, people coming in for bracelet and necklace repairs. When you have an odd-shaped gemstone and you're trying to design a setting around that, you can have a high error rate, remakes, potentially damage the stone. This eliminates all of that headache. You're able to scan the stone itself and develop a perfectly fit setting for that customer in 5 minutes or less, and then take it into the traditional 3D printing process there. So you kind of see that consultation, design, and scanning loops itself around at the front end of the process. What happens after that is you go into our print preparation software. We actually have some really exciting new developments in our B9Create 2.0, which is in beta phase right now. And you'll see some of the cool features that are there in a product video that we'll show you after this. But what happens is a lot of times when people think about where to save time, they focus just on the 3D printer. And there are a lot of hidden costs in 3D printing that you need to be mindful of when you're figuring out which technology to adopt. One of those is in the print preparation. You need a software that's able to take your CAD file and support it in a few steps, orient it in a way that gives you great surface finish, and not take the highest paid person in your retail shop or manufacturing center to run, or all the efficiency gains you get with a fast printer and going additive are lost in that first step. So we've been very intentional as we developed both our first generation software and our next generation software that's coming out mid-year, and you can get early access to by listening to where are your pain points. Is it in auto supports? Is it things like adding in mirroring support? So you're cutting your workflow in half and reducing your time, and then incorporate that into our print preparation software. So once that phase happens, you can transfer the file to your 3D printer. We make this pretty seamless. You can do it via Wi-Fi or Ethernet or USB, and then it's literally 5 button pushes and the print starts. So all you're doing during that phase is selecting your material. If you need a print quickly, you're optimizing for speed, or if you need something that's incredibly high resolution, you can optimize for that. Hit print, and it goes. There's no calibrations. You're not having to do any recoating of your resin vats. It's just a very seamless, repeatable, industrial grade process. So it scales whether you're a 1 or 2 person shop and you can't afford to tie up that amount of time not interfacing with your customers, or you're a large scale manufacturer that needs a solution that scales not just across 1 or 2 stores, but 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So we were very intentional to create a printer that would work in all of those models and give you those time and efficiency gains. The second hidden cost that we heard a lot in the 3D printing space, especially resin 3D printing, is it is a messy post-processing. So when you get this print off of your build table, it's usually coated in a thin layer of liquid plastic, which can be a pain to have to go clean and prep for curing so that you get your quality casting. We wanted to take that time suck out of the process and make it so that push button operation didn't stop at the printer. So we have an automated cleaning unit where you can take your print directly from your printer, place it into that automated cleaning unit, and it washes your part. So the first time you're even touching your rings or pendants, they're clean and dry and ready for curing. And then it goes into our cure unit for 5 minutes, and you can go directly into casting. So even though that looks like a lot of steps, just to give you a feel for total time, If you're doing a prototype, you're probably printing in 12 minutes, cleaning and curing in another 10 to 15, and you're done. If you're doing a castable set, you can still do that whole process in under an hour. So it starts to paint a picture of how many more custom jobs you can take on, or what kind of throughput you can have when you're not just optimizing the speed around the printer, but the speed, ease of use, simplicity, and value around the whole workflow. So you get a return on your investment in under a year with this solution. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
I think you've done a great job outlining that, and we'll, again, this will be a fun topic to take some questions on for those of you who are thinking about, what do I want to learn? What do I want to take away from this? Would love anything around that workflow piece, but I think it's covered nicely.
Okay.
Drop the video in here.
Yeah, so you'll see two of me. You're welcome, or I'm sorry, depending upon how this is going. But we're going to show you that workflow I described in a little better detail, as well as highlight some of our new products that we're showcasing at MJSA now virtually that we'll talk about when this video is done.
Hello, thank you for joining us. Today we'll be walking through all the latest innovations in B9Creations' digital jewelry workflow, from design, prototyping, and perfecting to casting-ready production. See all of our latest products online at b9c.com/jewelry. Our next generation B9 Create 2.0 software will optimize your print processes like never before, with fewer supports, better surface finish, and painless post-processing. Backed by patent-pending technology that delivers pinpoint accuracy and even better surface finish, this software sets a new standard in state-of-the-art. Already in beta phase, this software will power new printers and offers an upgrade path for existing machines in the field, making them as cutting-edge as when they first came off the line. With a sleek new intuitive interface, users can leverage workflow mode that intelligently lays out, orients, and auto-supports parts in 4 easy steps, or drop into design mode to adjust a breadth of parameters to fine-tune results. Let's take a look at how to prepare your design in workflow mode. You can import, duplicate, and auto-arrange models in a grid format to maximize the print space available, or position models precisely with a movable sphere and tunable parameters. In this latest version, we're also opening up import capabilities to allow users to import and slice STLs and SLC files. Unsupported areas are now highlighted in a bright yellow, offering a visual indicator for more efficient supporting, as well as a helpful guide for jewelers new to 3D printing. Formulated with jewelers in mind, B9 Create 2.0 also offers auto support templates based on the size and type of your jewelry model, from a small ring to a large bangle or pendant. In addition to offering default recommendations for a suggested support area, users also have a high level of adjustability based on your part's specific needs. New presets create custom silhouette foundations, minimizing resin usage while also allowing for user customization. You can see Cody placing supports on the model in those highlighted support areas, and now he's going to showcase one of our favorite new features. Designed with feedback from real jewelers, B9 Create 2.0 offers support mirroring to cut your work time in half. You can also add reinforcement bars for stronger structural supports, and lattice supports are in development as well. Plus, this support includes a sectioning tool that offers X-ray vision to enable you to view internal features of models as you're supporting. Even after placing supports, you have a wide range of customizable options, from the tip to the base, and the ability to save your custom supports as a named preset for repeatable application every time. If you're leveraging auto support, you can either do so based on the templates you selected in the previous step, or use custom auto support parameters to fine-tune outcomes. Moving to the final step, surface finish now slices at lightning-fast speeds, and you can see your part building in real time. This is where the real magic lies. Our patent-pending technology delivers a new level of performance in all our 3D printers, where users no longer have to choose between exceptional surface finish and dimensional accuracy. We'll get into more detail as we demo the printer next. After slicing, users can leverage Print Queue, an intuitive way to manage high production volume and optimize your workday, no matter how many models, machines, or team members are involved. B9Create 2.0 also offers robust reporting features with exportable data that allows you to track your print history, successes, failures, and see print volume estimates by model. Designed specifically for scanning jewelry and small objects, the B9 Scan 350 can precisely capture each detail, cut, or facet of your most intricate designs in minutes. We understand for jewelers, time is money. The most intuitive 3D scanner for speed, accuracy, and simplicity can save you both. The process is simple. Place your gemstone ring or other jewelry item in the machine, scan, and precisely capture each facet of the piece in minutes. With no external computer required, the scanner exports a precise replica that can either go direct to 3D printing or to your preferred CAD program for design. Ideal for jewelers, the B9 Scan 350 allows you to scan any ring in under 5 minutes to make the perfect fitting shadow band, increasing efficiency as much as 45% while cutting down on error rate. Digitally capture and replicate heirloom jewelry or bracelet links, or complete hard-to-fabricate jewelry repairs by scanning the piece and designing the perfect fitting detail. For custom bezels and mountings, you can accurately scan even the most unique shaped gemstones to accommodate every angle, creating a uniform design while cutting down on design and prototyping time by 80% and ensuring a quality fit the first time. Integrate the end-to-end solution that enables your business to operate more efficiently and profitably than ever before, so you can focus less on process and more on proven results. Currently available in 2 configurations, 30 microns and 50 microns, with a new larger build platform with effective resolution finer than 25 microns, all our 3D printers are plug and play. Just 5 button pushes and you're printing. After you transfer your files via USB, Wi-Fi, or Ethernet, customers can choose from a wide selection of castable and prototyping resins. Select our rapid prototyping resin for a build table of rings in 12 minutes, our high detail material to showcase delicate features such as fine filigree or pave, or our 2 castable resins for a clean burnout and repeatably flawless castings every time. Pour the resin into our patented DuraVat, which never clouds or wears. Place the build table in the machine, then simply select your part in the print library, your resin of choice, and your slice thickness to optimize for resolution or speed. Hit print and watch your design come to life, with speeds that deliver a build table full of castable rings in 45 minutes. We know when it comes to custom jewelry, speed of delivery is paramount. Whether it's the holiday season with a slate of rush jobs, or securing the sale up front with a physical prototype customers fall in love with on the spot, and a design you can cast that same day. All of our printers come with world-class factory startup assistance and lifetime support, free of service contracts or maintenance fees. So what does B9Create 2.0 software do for our Core Series 3D printers? In short, transform them. To understand how our patent-pending software technology makes our printers as state-of-the-art as when we first launched, it helps to understand how resolution, accuracy, precision, and surface finish come into play. Historically, if you wanted a resin printer that delivered high resolution and phenomenal surface finish, the accuracy of your part, or how close your 3D printed part is to your CAD file, suffers, because smoothing the edges of your print affects dimensional accuracy. With our patent-pending technology, users no longer have to choose, and in fact, get to upgrade. You benefit from an even better surface finish and pinpoint accuracy, with absolute fidelity to your CAD model. This means you get perfectly sized prongs, seamless fit settings, and even the finest filigree or feature set comes out flawlessly every time, all with a smooth finish that cuts down on post-processing and polishing. Plus, you still benefit from the B9 Core Series precision, reliably producing the same output every time. High resolution, pinpoint accuracy, precision, and flawless finish bundled into your B9 Core Series, whether you purchased tomorrow or 2 years ago. Your push-button operation shouldn't stop at the printer. Automate your post-processing with thorough no-mess cleaning on the B9 Clean. After printing, parts can be transferred directly from the B9 Core Series 3D printers to the B9 Clean, while still on the build platform or as loose models on the part tray. The B9 Clean offers customizable cleaning cycles, uses 75% less cleaning solution than other wash units, while still enabling 50 uses before changing the isopropyl alcohol. After cleaning, cure your parts in minutes in the B9 Model Cure before taking them to casting or to customers to try on and close same-day sales or verify the design. For a jeweler, that means from printing to cleaning to post-curing, you would have a whole set of castable rings in an hour. We also have new developments coming in our 3D printer platform with the launch of our B9 Core 5 Series XL. Designed to retain all the speed, resolution, and ease of use of our current 3D printer line, the B9 Core 5 Series XL offers a digital manufacturing solution that enables you to take advantage of a larger build platform without sacrificing high precision. Designed with a build volume that is 2 times larger than the B9 Core 550 and 5 times larger than the B9 Core 530, you get all the advantages of larger production with an effective resolution finer than 25 microns, enabling perfect fit settings and perfectly sized prongs every time. Thank you for joining us. Visit us at the MJSA Expo, booth 616, to see live demos of our 3D printer and scanner and get the scoop on the new products launching there, from our B9 Create 2.0 software to our new larger format printer, the B9 Core 5 Series XL. If you're interested and unable to attend the expo, visit us online for more information and to be the first in line to try out these new products. You can see us at b9c.com/MJSA.
Okay, well, I think we can all go to that website now.
All right, let me take you to the next slide. That is such an exciting system, I just have to say.
Well, we appreciate that.
That's how I knew it was time for a video. We'll skip past that. Okay, there we go.
I wanted to take a pause here. As you can see, these are a variety of the customers, the jewelers we work with around the globe. There's others listed here, global partners we've had that we've helped take their business digital. But I wanted to take a moment and see if any of the attendees had questions about those products or the workflow before we took a dive into some particular business cases to show how different types of jewelers can adopt 3D printing.
All right, guys, time to get your typing speed on. Have you got questions right now? Looks like Simon's typing. And he stopped. There we go. So what's the size of the new XL model?
So if you're familiar with our 550 platform, it's nearly double that build envelope. So that's the kind of build volume that you're getting with the new XL platform.
And really the driver there tended to come from 2 areas. So, most of jewelry has a tendency to be rings or earrings and smaller things where build volume really isn't an issue. But certainly there is a group of folks, particularly if you live in a kind of Western mindset area like we do. You've got folks who want to do big belt buckles and things like that. And so, periodically we run into somebody or they're doing more of a sculpture type of application that build volume is an issue for. The other thing is for our customers that run higher throughput, more production focused facilities that, it simply comes down to when I run the printer, how many models can I get in there at a time? And so we're trying to meet the needs of all those folks. Frankly, we've waited a while to release this technology because we didn't want to, I guess, be like everyone else and simply think we had to trade and have worse resolution, worse accuracy to grow our build area. That's a really simple way to do it, but we didn't feel like our customers would be satisfied with that. Frankly, as engineers, we weren't satisfied with that. So we waited until we had the technology in place and patents pending to offer our trademarked what we refer to as our fast technology that through some software optimization enables us to provide, better than 25 micron resolution, but a build volume quite a bit larger than our previous 50 micron machine. So again, for a lot of our folks in, smaller operations or not doing belt buckles and some of those larger things, may not make sense to spend the extra money for the larger build volume, but we will have that available for you and ready to share out.
Any other questions? Looks like Stuart's got one. While we're waiting for him to type, I noticed that one of your use cases is Megan Proctor.
Yes.
I have to give her a shout out at Atlanta Jewelry Show last weekend. She won the People's Choice Award and the top award in the MJSA sponsored CAD CAM competition at Atlanta Jewelry Show. And if anybody wants to watch those designers go through their day of challenges, because there were 3 of them, you can go to the Atlanta Jewelry Show Facebook page and it's all there.
Yeah, Megan does incredible work.
She does. If you want to go to the next slide, Andrea, and
sure, move on.
Yeah, Megan is a rock star, and we're tickled pink to have her on our customer list. I thought you might find it interesting that she's one of the case studies we wanted to share.
Yeah.
Dani and I, as we have worked with, thousands of jewelry companies around the globe, we're gonna categorize a little bit because they tend to fall into one of 3 categories. And what we thought we would do is touch on a case study from each of those 3 categories that hopefully our viewers can relate to and might spur some more Q&A activity. Dani, do you want to walk us through Meghans' story?
Yeah, so Megan's wonderful, and it's kind of a twofold business case example, both because she made the leap from hand carving to 3D printing, so that came with some CAD adoption, and because it's a smaller family-owned business, so there's a lot of customers we have that fit into one of those 2 categories. So Megan was getting this increasing demand for custom jewelry from a growing customer base, and that family-owned business serves everyone from people that walk in the door up to celebrity clientele. And she was really against everything digital at the outset, against CAD, 3D printing. She was frustrated by the amount of time it took to hand carve a piece, not including any remakes, or because wax tends to be brittle. If it breaks, you have to start over. But she didn't want to lose the artistry of her craft. It's what had made her family business so incredibly successful. It's what had spurred this increasing demand for custom. So she wanted to make sure that that wasn't lost in this digital transformation. So she adopted our B9 Core Series 3D printer, and it did a couple things for her. One, because it was so much faster and produced great consistent castings, she was able to actually take on more custom jobs than she had even been able to fulfill doing the hand carving. So it helped grow her business, helped spread word of mouth. Part of this transition, because it was her father who started the business and now she's joined it, is helping make that kind of a seamless partnership. The other really cool part of this story that I love to share, because the reason we love working with jewelers, one of them is the artistry of their craft, is she was actually able to get more detail into her designs, leveraging CAD, leveraging 3D printing than she was able to achieve in some instances with hand carving, which meant she had more artistic freedom and now the bandwidth to be able to take on those creative challenges, because the bottleneck wasn't in production, which isn't where Megan's talents come to shine. So it was really cool to be part of her customer journey.
A couple of things I would touch on out of that we hear quite a bit. And one of them really is around this holding on to the artisanal aspects of jewelry design. And I pick on myself as an example. I always tell people, I'm a mechanical engineer by education. I have a reasonably good understanding of CAD programs, but if you put me in, pick the jewelry CAD program of your choice, the only thing we're going to get out of that is 3-dimensional junk, because I am not a jewelry designer. It'll probably be square and boxy and look like a mechanical engineer designed it. So really, I encourage people to think about, wax is not the art. Wax is a media. CAD is a media. Watercolors are a media. You can bring your art to life in any of those media. And I think what customers are more and more seeing is that is the case. They don't lose anything. in that process. And frankly, their customers love it because it's so much more accessible. The models are, as Dani mentioned, 3D printed models are much more robust. You can drop them on the floor, ship them without fear of breaking and things like that. That just makes that custom design process a lot more interactive for the end customer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you step on them, which don't ask me how I know, but sometimes this happens.
Hypothetically, right?
Really fast again in the B9. Been there.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Megan shares the story where she had these pair of earrings, and one of them came out and the other one didn't. She needed to go back and deliver a job that same day, and she printed them in 12 minutes. I mean, you can't, the amount of relief, proportionate to the speed, you just can't stress that enough. I think about how crazy things get around Christmas time, delivering those last minute rush jobs, or Valentine's Day. And so be able to have a machine like that where you can either execute on those rush jobs, or if something happens, you can still deliver on time. It's huge. It's huge.
Well, I know from the list of people that are attending today, you guys all know how much custom is taking over the revenue generating part of retail. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Absolutely.
This is another great story here with Oscar and his business.
Yeah. So Oscar has in a unique spot. He's in Chicago, and he runs both this retail storefront and he has a large scale casting house. So when you talk about a tool that's versatile in both of those business models, when those business models are within the same company, you need to make sure that it can deliver on both fronts. So when he came to us to adopt this type of technology, he was spending a lot of time calibrating machines, or machines would break down, and that's not value add. Value add is in front of your customers, right? Delivering on your casting pieces. So he needed something that was incredibly reliable and that eliminated the user intensive process that was bottlenecking his production. So that's why he chose the B9 Core series. There's no calibration. You don't recoat vats. It's fast, and it's an incredibly reliable machine. We ship these to 70 countries all over the world, to trade shows back and forth. And they just come out of the box and they're printing in 15 minutes. So you don't have to spend a lot of time on the setup. The other really cool thing about Oscar's story is that it didn't just transform his production process. It actually transformed his business model. So when we talked earlier about making that same day sale with the technology he was using, that wasn't possible. You couldn't have a print that same day to have either your customer say, yes, that middle one is the design I want to go with, or yes, I would love for you to produce this. Let's go ahead and proceed. With this technology, he could. So he would be able to mock up the design, showcase it in 12, 15 minutes, close the deal, make the same day sale, and then go direct into casting that same day. And when you're running this large scale operation, to be able to seamlessly move from your storefront to your casting in 24 hours, that's huge. You can see there too, just in terms of the volume he was able to produce. Keep in mind, he went from a large type of batch production, and we are using a smaller print area, but because of the speed, he actually increased the production 5 times. So when you're trying to sort through, how important is it that I have a big build volume or a small build volume? It's important to think about throughput, not just can I make 50 rings on a tray or 20 rings on a tray, but ultimately, what is my total production capacity going to be, looking at all of those other variables with the technology. Do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I think you touched on a number of really important points there. A couple of things I would circle back to, that sometimes these aren't the sexiest points, but as an engineer, forgive me, we're not sexy by nature, but we do tend to take into account things like preventative maintenance and calibration and all of these, Dani used the phrase earlier, hidden costs. When we're working with customers that have, particularly if you have multiple locations or even multiple machines in one location, when you look at the amount of time, and for some machines, they also consume materials in the calibration process, the dollar value of that labor and material that gets consumed over a 12-month period gets to be a real number. If it was $2 or $3 here or there, it wouldn't be a big deal. But when you talk about buying a machine that costs tens of thousands of dollars and then requires calibration on a regular basis to perform at its full potential, the feedback we get from customers, frankly, is I make my money when I'm interfacing with jewelry customers working on a custom design, or when I'm up at the counter helping my team, close deals and get customers the jewelry they want. I don't make money in the back messing around with the printer. Frankly, it's something that we talk about a lot inside our company. We remind ourselves that in the end, nobody wants a 3D printer. They want what comes out of the printer, and they want the way that that object enables their business process. So we can't think of ourselves as being in the 3D printing business. We have to think of ourselves as being in the digital manufacturing technology business and always be looking for a way to make that technology better serve the customer. Otherwise, if we're just focused on making 3D printers, we'll lose sight of what our customers are really trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Along those lines, no one wants to be a 3D printing expert either. You all have day jobs at your craft being jewelers. So we want to respect that as well.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the goal is how quickly can we get 3D printing to be as, thought-free, so to speak, as 2D printing. When you've typed up an email or you've typed up a Word document or a sales invoice and you want to print it, you don't want to have to put a whole lot of thought into how to make that spit out of your paper printer. And we're going to keep pushing the envelope in our software and our hardware and our materials, in our workflow solutions, till we can make additive manufacturing as simple as printing out a sales invoice on your paper printer.
Mm-hmm. And one of the kind of last, if you want to call it categories we wanted to talk through is a company called Riddles Jewelry. So they are similar to Oscar in that they have both retail stores and manufacturing hubs, but it has to scale across quite a number of stores. So they have 6 hubs in different locations and then 60 retail stores across that geography as well. But just like Megan, just like Oscar, just like a lot of you, there's an increasing demand for custom and they needed a solution that addressed this. But when Shon says we have to make sure that the workflow works for you, that includes integrating with your design software, understanding if you want to take a design center approach and reform your retail stores, we have to be a seamless process part of that. It can't be a specialized, separate technology that doesn't integrate with where you're trying to take your business. So Riddles came to us and they had this idea to transform their retail shops into in-house design centers where customers can come in, whether it's they bring an odd-shaped gemstone that they want an engagement ring designed around, or they want, a piece of jewelry designed from scratch, and they want to be able to take those customers, do the design, print the prototype, make that same-day sale, have a durable material enough they can try it on and confirm that's what they want, and not just do that one time in one store, but every day across 60 stores. So when you think about all of those time sinks and learning curves and you multiply that times 60, it becomes a really big deal. So we rolled out with our machine paired with their design software on the front end to be able to equip someone with little to no experience in 3D printing and varying degrees of experience in design software to have a solution that they could operate interfacing with customers, as well as one that reliably produced those castings and those manufacturing hubs to deliver on all of those sales that the front stores just closed. So this is where things in our software like print management, how do you interact with printers in different locations so that if I have a job, in X city and I need to send it over virtually to a totally different state, can you still print and cast the same day and give me that real-time feedback? So we had to build in scalable architecture in our software and our printer. This is where automated post-processing is huge so that they would be able to deliver and scale as they grew.
And a couple of things I would add to that would be, back to that category of hidden costs is what is the amount of training required to get your staff to the point that they can operate a given solution? We had a customer, I was in the booth at JCK one year, and had a customer explain this to me better or articulate it better than what I've been able to come up with. So I just reused the line that he shared. This is a generation of hardware ago when most of your 3D printers were a whole lot more labor intensive. But he said, Shon, I need you to build me a machine that anyone in my shop can run rather than a machine that requires me or my most highly paid person to run. And that has been when we talk about speed and simplicity and value, that guiding principle has been a huge influence on us. And frankly, we've got folks in the audience here on this event that are beta testers and have been giving us feedback for our CAM 2.0 software. It's why, we take the time to validate what we're doing. I mean, we all know sometimes engineers get a little too excited about what they're cooking up. And if you don't get customer feedback incorporated, you can miss the mark. We try hard to be, great software developers, great engineers, great manufacturing people, but also make sure that we're integrating the customer perspective into everything that we do so the technology actually serves you instead of having to happen the other way around.
Absolutely. This might be a good point. I don't know if we have other questions pop up or based on those different categories we described, if folks have particular questions about how they would adopt 3D printing or when to upgrade. But I just want to pause. We have some other things we can talk about, questions we get frequently, but I want to give the attendees a chance to ask any questions on their mind as well.
You do have a couple more questions. So
Okay.
one from Simon is, will the B9 Clean be adaptable for the new XL prints?
Yes, that's a great question. And yes, when we say that we're going to stay true to that workflow solution that we offer, that carries right on through with the XL. So you'll be able to continue having automated cleaning of your parts with that new printer platform as well.
Stuart Adelman has several questions. One is, do you have a material that casts without changing his regular wax casting process?
So I have to be a little careful because when you say without changing my regular wax casting process, I don't know exactly what all you mean by that. Everything from how you mix the investment to burnout to, there's a lot of variables in that equation. I will tell you that our casting resins come with a recommended burnout schedule. Actually, one of the things I've enjoyed about this business is jewelers and engineers are kind of a lot alike in that they only want to, if you want to convince an engineer of anything, you better have another engineer explain it to him. If you want to convince a jeweler of anything, you better have another jeweler explain it to him, which is one of the reasons why that customer feedback is such a key part of what we do. Long way around to say that without knowing exactly, how you mix your investment and all of those other variables, I can't really say that you don't have to change anything. What I can say is that we can give you a method and a process that's tried and true based on feedback from hundreds and hundreds of jewelers that we know will work. We recommend everybody use that as a starting point and then kind of experiment backwards from there toward your preferred process to see how far you can go. We have a number of customers that say, for instance, with our yellow resin, that they cast that, screw that up on the same tree as wax, and cast them together. We have had other customers that said, hey, I tried that and it didn't work for me. Again, I recognize there are a lot of variables beyond just burnout schedule. So I apologize if that's not really as complete of an answer as you were hoping for. Unfortunately, there's too many variables in that equation for me to completely pin it down.
The other nice thing about being so engaged with our jewelry customer base is we have other customers and other dealers who are jewelers that actually help other customers with the casting process. So we are very much the technology experts. We're the technology providers, but we understand that no matter what industry you're in, aerospace or jewelry, you need proof of concept and a network of support that helps with those integration pieces, either design on the front end or casting on the back end. So we also have this network of resources for customers to go through these very questions in detail, down to we've had people not only hop on the phone, but go over and cast something with another customer. So I just want to put that out there that those resources are available as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Dani. Frankly, and one of the reasons I'm not trying to give you blow by blow every element of that answer is I'd rather have you discuss that with one of our customers who is a jeweler and understands that process a lot better than I do, and let you discuss the finer points back and forth of how they run their casting process versus how you might want to run yours. We can absolutely make that connection for you.
Stuart has another question. He wants to know, what's the cost per model or print?
So obviously that, depends upon what type of model you're printing, but think pennies. I mean, when you're doing a ring that's this size out of our resin, which we make as cost effective as our machine, because we understand that's a consumable and we want to make that an easy point of adoption as well, that's the price point you're talking with. So, and it's no big deal if you got to remake it.
Good rule of thumb would be somewhere between 15 cents and $1. I realize that's a little bit of a wide range, but not knowing the size of the piece, as Dani mentioned, or how many support structures your design may need, et cetera. We want it to be cheap enough. Bear with me for a second. The people who are most successful with this technology are the people that recognize it's not just about production, it's about using it as a sales tool. And we want the parts that come off the printer to be durable enough and cheap enough that our customers can say, snap a stone into the prongs and slide it on the customer's finger to get that design validation and that feedback. And then frankly, when the customer likes it, let them take it home. My daughter has an amazing collection of gold spray painted jewelry, but we have the customers who are really getting the most bang for the buck and the best return on investment going digital are those that are using it as a sales tool, not just a production tool. And part of, again, as Dani mentioned, getting that cost per printed part down in the, way under $1 range is now, if a customer says, well, I just can't decide between these, do I want the princess cut? Do I want the, pear shape? What do I want? Print it all three ways. Let them try them all on. Let her take them all home. You're talking about a price point where letting those leave the shop doesn't impact your ROI.
Yeah, the other reason for that is if you are outsourcing currently, we want to make it cost effective to bring that in-house. So kind of comparing apples to apples with how much am I paying someone else to print this and then FedEx to ship it, and what kind of time is lost in between there if I need a tweak. We were very intentional there as well, where the pricing model made it easy to bring that production in-house if you are outsourcing.
One other thing I would add to that, kind of back to one of the topics we touched on earlier, for most of our jewelers, they tend to view themselves as designers. And if you said, what is it that makes you different? What is it that makes you special? Design inevitably almost always comes into that conversation. What you hate to do as a business person is say, here's this thing that's really my differentiator. And the way I get my parts made is I email someone in India my secret sauce or my design, and they print something and cast it and send it back to me. Ideally, if that's your intellectual property and that's your secret sauce, part of what we want to enable jewelers to do is keep that in-house. And frankly, if you're going to send something out to be cast, send a print. Now they could still scan that, or frankly, print it yourself and either cast it yourself or get it cast somewhere that you trust. I hate to see, no different than at B9Creations, we wouldn't email the blueprints for our next generation printer to people that we don't know overseas. And I hate to see jewelers doing the same when they can, at an attractive ROI, keep that secret sauce to themselves.
Let's see, we've got a question from Ani Kachian, which is, when using the scanner, does the scan import the 3D as a mesh in Rhino?
So you can export from the scanner into Rhino or whatever you're using. You can also export it as an STL for printing. So it will work in both going back into your CAD program or going direct to 3D printing if you don't need to make any modifications. And the scanner itself comes with its own software that's not only the acquisition piece, capturing the scan, but it also has some CAD light features, I'd call them, that you are able to adopt if you want. Everything for if I scanned my ring and I with the stones in it and I wanted to create seats, in the scanner software, I can actually create seats for the diamonds or sharpen the prongs, smoothing. So there's some functionality even before you get back into CAD, they're able to have with the scanner software, and then you can take it back into Rhino or whatever your preferred program is and tweak the design from there.
Ani also has a couple of other questions that are about more things like collaboration. I'll make sure, Ani, that these guys get the transcript and your contact information so that you guys can cover that offline. Tim Staff just got here and he wants to know what he missed. I promised him you'll get the recording.
Yes, and if you call B9, a real person picks up. So you call us and we'll fill you in too.
Let's see. Stuart Adelman has another question. He'd like to know if any special investment powder is required.
No, that's a great question, Stuart, and something I should have touched on the first time you asked that question about casting process. So our customers use, Prestige Optima, Plasticast, Ultravest. You don't have to buy. One of the questions we get a lot is, do I have to buy that, platinum investment that's a lot harder, or dental investment powder that some people say you have to use with their resin. No, you can use the same powder in most cases that you're using today.
Leon Skolnick would like to know when the new software will become available, and will you have training and videos and materials for them?
Dani, you want to
yes.
address that?
So it will be available widely mid-year, but if you go to that b9c.com/MJSA, we'll get you on a waiting list so that if there's to be an early access, an open beta, that you have a chance to be a part of that even before it's commercially available the second half of the year. Right now we have it developed. You saw it on the video, but we're still actively taking that jeweler feedback, tweaking and fine tuning so that we have a really great product that fits your needs. And then yes to all of the others. There will be training not only as a new user, as in how do I use B9Create 2.0 with my new printer, as well as if you're an existing Core Series owner, we'll have kind of an apples to apples. Hey, here's how you did X, Y, and Z in this software. Here's how that seamlessly translates over to our new software so that no matter where you are, it'll be a seamless transition. So real people training like this virtually, there'll be videos, documentation. We'll go through all of that to make sure that the adoption curve is easy.
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the things that I don't know that we've mentioned yet that I would encourage everyone to think about is, back to that customer feedback, the customer who said, Shon, build me a machine that anyone in my shop can run. We made the decision a few years back to include what we call factory startup assistance with every platform that we sell. So there's no, well, if you want quick tech support, you pay extra. If you want training, you pay extra. If you want any help, you pay extra. Our goal is not to sell printers. Our goal is to see people actually use the technology. So our factory startup assistance, you would do a virtual session just like we are here with one of our training and tech support team who will help you take the thing out of the box and make sure you're running your first print before you get off that Skype. That software, hardware, all those things, workflow are covered in that factory startup assistance. One of the other things Dani touched on that I just want to emphasize is we understand that because we're a small business, when you make an investment in technology, you want to make sure that that investment is good for the long haul. So our new fast software technology that's built into CAM 2.0, frankly, is backwards compatible with all of our Core Series printers that have been purchased to date. So if you want to take that printer that you bought in, when we launched in Tucson back in 2017, and you want to make it perform like the latest, greatest state-of-the-art machine that you could buy today, frankly, this software upgrade is all that will be required. And we want to see those machines continue to deliver results and create value for our customers for the long haul, rather than just say, oh, sorry, we have a new one now, and so please buy the new one, and your old one can go on eBay.
Well, and on that track, Alan Beck wants to know, are Duravats interchangeable between the original Core units and the new XL?
So the Duravat actually won't be interchangeable in the XL because of the larger build area. So the XL will have a new vat. It will be much more affordable than the Duravat and offer a lot of the same performance, as in doesn't cloud up, doesn't require recoding, etc. So good news coming on that, and we're looking forward to sharing more. But because of the larger build area, unfortunately, the XL does have a different vat.
Alan's also asking about pricing for the new unit.
So I don't think Dani has decided to release that yet.
Yeah.
I have to be careful what the director of
we should coordinate before we get on these.
Sometimes I say things that she's not giving me permission to say, but I think that is will be announced a little bit later this spring.
Yeah, so when you sign up for that wait list, all of that information as it comes out, more features, demos, pricing, you can get all of that there. So just be sure to put your name on the list, and we'll make sure that you are in the know.
Absolutely.
So, and the late to arrive Tim would like to know if he has purchased the new software, if he's a current Core owner.
Could you say that one more time, Andrea?
Well, since he's already a Core owner, does he have to purchase the new software?
So there will be an upgrade path, like everything that we produce. We'll make sure that it's not so out of line with our offering that it's not easily adoptable, and we'll share more details about that as well. And we'll email you, Tim, as well. We have your email on file.
And I think though it is a purchase, you'll find it to be incredibly reasonably priced.
Yes.
We've been talking about pricing, and I know you're not ready to talk about the pricing yet, but maybe you could talk with our viewers about how to think through the ROI for this type of a purchase.
That's a great point, Andrea. And, I'll go back to the workflow example that Dani gave of really thinking about what does my entire process cost me? So we had a customer that we're in the process of working with that we looked at just what they spend on FedEx, sending things back and forth. And, I see you chuckling there, but you would be amazed when we think about.
I'm chuckling because it's so true.
When you think about hidden costs and you say, okay, today, I pay, $75. I get my models printed somewhere else. I pay $75 for the model. And okay, so how does that show up at your shop? What is the real value stream map or the workflow that goes around that? And we had a customer that when they looked at what they were spending with FedEx, I don't know if aneurysm, I don't know if they really had an aneurysm, but they had I'll just say strong reaction. And when they thought about the ROI on the technology, again, when you combine cost savings on the production side with using it as a sales tool. So if your capacity today to do business is X number of jobs based on your milling, your hand carving, whatever the case may be, and you say, what is my ability to grow? Now, if you buy a production technology with a bunch of extra capacity, but you can't bring the customers in the door, frankly, the only ROI you'll see is on the production cost savings. A lot of the jewelers that we talk to, frankly, the majority of them, they are getting creative about how to grow foot traffic and leverage digital to grow their customer base. One of the things that it's, digital can be a blessing and a curse, but if you're an artist and you want to get your art in front of more people, social media is a phenomenal tool. And a lot of our customers are amazingly good on social media. So if you can grow your volume, if you have more production capacity, now all of a sudden, most of our customers, when they look just at production cost savings, they're seeing a payback under a year. Sometimes it's 12 to 14 months. If you start to figure out the FedEx and all the other little hidden costs, oftentimes it's even faster. But the customers that are saying, we literally had a customer that said, I did, X number of jobs the month after I implemented this, and previously I could have only done about 2/3 of that. If you have the right clientele, sometimes one project you couldn't have fit in previously pays for this platform. You're talking about a turnkey all-in cost for what we do today, barely north of the $10,000 mark. So,
I know you said it wasn't very sexy, but quite frankly, frictionless prep, rapid changeover, small batch production, those are very sexy things when it comes to paying for a machine.
Well, they are. But, when you're the marketing professional like Dani, some of our competition advertises things that sound more exciting, but really it comes back to what do you think your customers want? Do you think they want a 3D printer, or do you think they want the thing that comes out of the printer that enables their business? And that's the mindset that we operate under. It's why, frankly, I am an engineer, but I don't get up in the morning and come to work because of 3D printers. I get up in the morning and come to work because I love hearing stories about how does our technology enable our customers to create more opportunity and grow their businesses. If we do that well for our customers, that turns into opportunity here in our business to, grow our team, expand opportunities, provide promotions, all of those things that ultimately, if you're really only in business purely for the dollars and cents, it gets, pretty old, I think, pretty fast. If you're in business to impact your community, grow and develop people, and create opportunity, there's a never-ending series of, yes, challenges, but also victories that go along with that. And, that's why we come to work.
That's pretty rewarding stuff. Tim also wants us to know that his machine works just as well at 40 below in Fairbanks, warm climate. And since up in Wisconsin, we just veered back in that 40 below direction today. I hear you.
Well,
Tim tests our reliability promise.
Yep. And Tim's had his machine for quite some time. That's the kind of customer. One of the other things that just makes what we do so much fun is we have phenomenal customers that when Dani mentioned, when someone's considering buying a platform and says, well, can I talk through my casting process? Having people, like Tim and other names that I've seen, go by on the attendee list that we can connect them with. So you are talking to a jeweler. You're not talking to a salesperson or even a knuckleheaded engineer like me trying to explain casting when we don't really understand it. It's a huge perk that we do have phenomenal customers and they take care of each other and us.
Yeah. And even on the business side, hey, help me understand the ROI. How should I think about an upfront cost versus ongoing operating costs? Even having other jewelers say, your business looks like my business. Let me walk you through what that looked like for me. That can be just as helpful as understanding, do I have the right burnout where I can cast my wax and resin simultaneously? Right.
I mean, I can tell you based on the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of customers all over the globe casting our resin, it's castable. I can also offer that as an engineer, we're great with Excel. So if you want help on an ROI spreadsheet to understand, because I'll tell you, in our business, we don't go make investments in technology that won't really deliver results. We certainly wouldn't ask our customers to do that. So if you want to get on the phone or a Skype, and we've got an ROI calculator that we're happy to share. I don't know that we've thought of everything in it, but we're happy to share it with you. And if you may have other costs or other savings or other elements that you want to plug into it, we'd love to have the feedback.
And the nice thing about that is it compares different types of technologies, from outsourcing to milling to other 3D printing technologies to if you're upgrading from one of our earlier generation machines. So it gives a lot of flexibility with what your apples to apples looks like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of the questions that we get a lot is, what you're saying sounds really cool, but I already own a printer, so I don't know that it makes sense to upgrade. And I don't know that it makes sense either, but part of the ROI calculator that Dani mentioned, when I hear people say, well, and I say, so what does it cost to operate your current printer? And they're like, oh, honestly, it's pretty efficient. The materials aren't that bad. Well, I do have to pay this $2,000 every year for my software license. Yikes. Sometimes those hidden costs can make upgrading pretty attractive. Anyway, we're happy to walk you guys through that. Again, being a company full of engineers, spreadsheets are how we communicate.
We are out of time, and it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So I want to end with one comment, which is from Kevin Furtenbaugh. And he says, you guys are the best company support system he's ever experienced. So
Kevin, likewise, we talk frequently. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Kevin. You're a rock star.
Maybe one of the people providing input into our CAM 2.0 software. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
So huge thanks to Kevin and people like him who are willing to help us learn how to better serve this customer base. Andrea, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Oh, you've got more endorsements coming through. So before I do our ring off here and thank my thank yous, Tim says, even if you don't build your own 3D models for your store and you job out your design to a Matrix or Rhino builder, they can send you back an STL. You can print it in your store. David Dorian is saying the ROI is nothing compared to the time savings with B9. So yeah, you've got some real endorsements here, some good fans online. So with that, we have to close. So first of all, thank you so much to Shon and Dani for taking the time to give us this presentation, because I mean, I've known about B9 for a long time. I've even demoed them at a trade show, and I still learned things in this presentation and enjoyed it very much. So thank you, and for all the prep you did. Thank you to MJSA for sponsoring this series, because it is such a service to the industry, and we truly appreciate you making this happen. As we mentioned early in the program, we are looking at some ways to bring the rest of the MJSA education content and some more demo content to you, since we're not able to have MJSA Expo this weekend as we were planning, and we'll have more information for you on that later. And for all of our attendees, thank you for taking an hour out of your day to join us. We know your time is precious. You will get a replay of this, Tim, so you can see what happened and so you guys can review. And please make sure you send any questions you have to Dani and Shon, because clearly they really love engaging with their customers and they want to talk to you. And with that, I will say goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.